Welcome back to SwitchCorner. My name is Alex and today Nintendo E3 happened, and for the most part honestly I was impressed. I actually dropped a video on that already today which I will link below, but of course along with that came a monster new sale. So let's just take a look at a few of my initial favourites and where you might be able to, drop some cash. So without luck, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here, join our growing family, and let's get started. So first off, hundreds, if not over 1,000 deals went live, so I'll still be dropping my usual Thursday and Saturday videos diving in even deeper. This one, it's purely kind of first quick look, but one thing I've done here, every single deal, it is at a new all-time low price, meaning don't expect to see the likes of the mighty Cuphead, which is slightly more expensive than normal. That was also my way of kind of sneaking Cuphead in here, but this is going to be quickfire with 23 games to run through. So first up, this was an easy one, the mighty Hades. It's rocking 30% off. I think it's fair to call this one a peak of the Nintendo Switch from Supergiant Games. It's a roguelite adventure, absolutely addictive, and you're working to escape hell. Expect to progress though with practice and leveling up, and it's just a small piece of genius that everyone should be checking out. It even got a physical release recently, and yeah, if you're like me, it might be even worth a double dip. Oxenfree then is another small piece of genius, a supernatural graphic adventure. This was well loved and a sequel is on the way. Heavy dialogue and conversation systems, but just a stunning story, and the animation here, it is another level. I don't want to give too much away, but it's more than worth this monster 70% off. Superhot then was recently announced as a physical release by Limited Run Games. If physical's not your thing though, take a look here with 50% off. It's a first person shooter. It started life as a VR experience, it's then transitioned to, standard screens, but it works, it's great fun, and the idea here is time only progresses if you move, so it almost becomes a puzzler as you need to be aware of enemy placement, attacks and bullets. Speed limit, this one is for those of you that just want a challenge. It's retro through and through, it changes the gameplay up constantly, and this is pretty much, I think, one hit deaths as you race your way through this world from on foot to helicopters to cars. I had a blast with it. My only minor complaint, a few of the levels, they feel a little trial and error over skill. The 30% off though, it is fair for a game that is relatively short, but it's going to take you a fair few attempts to get through. Alien Isolation then is a masterpiece of horror with 50% off. This is also an incredible port on the Switch. It's just a great reflection of the movies, it just nails the atmosphere and the idea. Here though, you are Ripley's daughter, you're out to investigate a black box that's been discovered. It may basically give you clues to your mother's whereabouts. Scary as hell stuff, but I really hope it sees some sort of sequel because it is, in my opinion, one of the best movie to game adaptations we've ever seen. Creature in the Well then is a unique one. It's rocking 50% off. It's basically a hack and slash game with RPG elements and pinball. The combat, it's not against enemies here, you see, but solving puzzles. Think almost a Brick Breaker style of gameplay. I loved it myself. I thought it was different and that kind of made it a little bit special, and I hope we see more of this world. I would say though, before you jump into this one, maybe check out a review or two first. Now, Breath of the Wild's on sale. While the base game doesn't quite reach that all-time low price, I just quickly want to mention the DLC expansion pass. It hits a new all-time low with 30% off, and so does the base game and expansion combo as well. That's also 30% off. Not going to talk you into playing this if you haven't already. You no doubt know how highly regarded it is, but now is as good a time as ever with the upcoming release of the sequel in 2022. Chronos Before the Ashes is kinda like, think, entry-level Dark Souls in my eyes. Nowhere near as brutal, but it carries over many of the same kind of action RPG elements you would expect. The catch with this one is, if you die, you actually age. As you age, you're getting stronger, wiser and more skilled. It's a cool system that has a very cool visual attached to as you see your character getting older. I will link my full review to this one below, but it is here with 20% off. Not particularly a good game now, but I had to mention it. Look, Deadly Premonition 2. The first was a bit of a mess, but a bit of a cult favourite at the same time, including myself. This one probably won't be a cult hit, honestly, but if you want to punish yourself with frame rates that tank and some broken mechanics, go take a look here with 50% off. I know I'm not selling it to you, I'm not trying to, but you kind of know who you are out there, the ones where curiosity is kind of tempting you in. My pickup of the E3 deals then this far is Shiren the Wanderer, the Tower of Fortune and the Dice of Fate. Hell of a name, but this is 20% off. It's enough to get me in, as I just hear kind of constant praise around it. It's a roguelike RPG released originally on the DS back in 2010 in Japan, and I've actually been waiting on this one for some time now. Visually, it's not going to be for like most, it's going to be more for retro fans out there, but reviews, they are really, really good. Overpriced at release then, but Kingdom Hearts Melody and Memory. This is a rhythm game set within the Kingdom Hearts universe. It for sure wasn't the game people wanted, that's a guarantee, but I actually had some fun with it, as it kind of revisits the game's now, well, let's face it, convoluted plot points. The action's good though, as is the music, and I'm actually really liking this 50% off price point. I think it's a lot more fair for what you get. Pikmin 3 Deluxe then is a game that's tried twice to get people's love, and from what I understand, sales weren't all that strong on the Switch either, and I have no idea why. It's such a creative IP, and for strategy fans out there, real time especially, it's such a unique spin on the genre. With puzzles throughout then though, tons of likeable characters, it just for sure deserves attention in my opinion, and this is your chance with 30% off. Brawler fans, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is a classic that finally saw a re-release, and it's still as good now as it ever was. With 35% off, this has incredible pixel work, solid arcade action, a hell of a difficulty curve, it's gonna kick your ass, that's guaranteed. Some RPG mechanics, think like items you can purchase, and then a soundtrack that just rolls from Anna Managuchi, who you should, well, yeah, you should just listen to it. Even if you don't buy the game, go check out the soundtrack. Also, watch the film as well if you haven't already. It's just a love letter to all things video games. A favourite deal of mine then has to be Furi. It has a monster 75% off. It's one of my favourite games on the console. It's a boss rush experience, has this stunning artwork, and then these walking moments between battles. You kind of just take in the world, learn the story, all that good stuff. This one though, it's balancing gunplay, bullet hell, and arena combat to just some awesome effect. If you want a challenge, this is absolutely where you go. From that very same team then, their recent release is Haven. I love this one, another one that's getting a physical from Limited Run Games. This swaps out hard as hell gameplay for something chill, as you control a young couple simply in love, but they're on the run from a government that wants to separate them. They're running across like alien planets. It's a slow burner and all about exploration with some kind of minor RPG battles, but I was impressed. I enjoyed the ride, and they seem to have a way with storytelling, this team, and yeah, it's rocking 30% off. Nexomon Extinction then is awesome. It's 30% off. It's Pokemon for those of us that want old school Pokemon. While the designs can be maybe a little too close to their influences, I still love the gameplay, the world, its weird, almost adult sense of humour as well. If you like monster catching games though, this is a really good option in my opinion, and I especially like playing this one in handhelds. Another steal then here is Ruiner from Devolver Digital. If you watch this channel enough, you know I love this game. It's a relatively standard twin stick shooter, but what gets me with this one is its dark storyline as you set out to save your family, and it's basically got this like cyberpunk world. It's just absolutely epic. The gunplay though, super visceral stuff, and yeah, I just don't think you can go wrong here at 75% off. That is a huge discount. Journey to the Savage Planet then is another one I really enjoyed, but it actually got overshadowed at release by The Outer Worlds. It came out right around that same time. In my opinion, honestly, Outer Worlds was a much weaker port. This is such a strong show. This isn't really about gunplay though as such, but more about exploration and adventure. It even borrows from Metroidvanias in some of its progression, but it's just got this great sense of humour to it all, and the gameplay is fantastic. I'd highly recommend it at 60% off. Survival fans, Breathedge joined the console recently. This one sends you into outer space, not as challenging as some in that survival genre, but it's still this huge epic, and you're exploring locations and space stations. The space element of the game leads to 360-degree movement, which is really cool, kind of disorientating at points, but it definitely makes it feel unique. The only issue this game has, in my opinion, it's the third act. It turns the game almost into this first-person shooter, and it is a little weak. Up until that point though, it's good stuff, and you'll easily get your money's worth here with 35% off. You want a more challenging survival experience, then I'd say absolutely jump on The Long Dark. It's my personal favourite in the genre on the Switch. This one's throwing you into a snowy landscape after a plane crash, and it gives you a few options here, a story that's still actually being updated, challenges, and then just pure survival mode as well. This world is incredible and terrifying at the same time, and I was really impressed. It's also rocking 40% off, and I think that's more than fair for a game that you could easily sink hundreds of hours into. Our penultimate game of the video then, that is Slay the Spire. I just haven't seen a new all-time low price on this one in so long, and for me, It's kind of king of the roguelike deck building games out there. The community just absolutely like adores it, and that is with very, very good reason. For me, it's just the variety in the cards and how balanced the gameplay feels. You never feel like you lose because of, let's say, an unfair deck. If cards are your thing, this is absolutely going to be worth your time, and I can finally happily say a new all-time low with 50% off. Our final game of the video then, that is Persona 5 Strikers. This is Persona meets Dynasty Warriors. It's 10 times better than I ever expected though. It pays a huge focus to RPG elements, exploration and conversation, which is what you want from this universe. It's a commitment for sure, probably like a couple of hours or so till you even get a battle, and you'll still be working through tutorials. But this is how you do the formula right. You add in action with complete respect to the source material, and right now at like 35% off, I can easily get behind it. And that's it. These are the first few deals kind of jumping out at me from the E3 sale, but I've got a ton of digging to do still, and I'll be covering those that I do find in my Thursday and Saturday edition, so do watch out for them as well. Check out my recap and reaction then to Nintendo's E3 and Limited Run Games conference as well, which I'll link both of those down below. With that though, a shout out to the patrons of the channel who are just going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. It helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. If you do want to check that out for yourself, I have linked it in the video description down below. Then hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.